All right, so here we are today. Okay, so today we're going to discuss pi and the hidden message that I think I found, but I'm not quite sure, but I am sure, and all this other crazy stuff. Basically, one piece connects to the other piece, connects to the other piece, connects to the other piece, and a lot of people are saying, well, you should be able to do this all the way to the 1,000 point of pi or whatever. The fact of the matter is that's not how this works. Okay, there's a cipher in pi, which leads me to tau, which leads me to some other crazy stuff. So it's actually pretty simple when you think about it. You don't need any mathematics, you don't need any real understanding of math or science or cipher or decoding. You just need to walk through these steps very simply, and I'm going to point them out as we go along. The fact of the matter is this is just the first cipher in pi. It actually goes on beyond this, and that's going to go on the second page. The second page actually has tau on there as well. There's just a lot of information that we've got to go over. But in the cipher, it's actually really cool. It's 3.14159265358, 9, and 7. Basically, it breaks out like this. All right, 0 plus 1 equals 1, 1 plus 1 equals 2, 1 plus 2 equals 3, 2 plus 3 equals 5, and 3 plus 5 equals 8. I found this part, and I didn't know that this was here. I just knew that the 7 was over. It didn't really make sense there. Based on this pattern recognition, and you're wondering how I got this, I started with 0 and understand that I knew nothing in this whole process. Absolutely nothing. And to this day, I will still state that I know absolutely nothing because I have no clue what this information is. Okay? And then we understand 3 dimensions, x, y, and z. Okay? And then 1 dimension of time, which is the 4th dimension. Okay? And I knew that basic mathematics. I'm just going to assume that, and that I'm looking for patterns left to right of one step of change. So that's how it started out. So we've got 0 to 1. Then we've got one step here, 3 to 4. And then I found the Fibonacci sequence, which I already knew. See, that's a key piece. If I didn't know that, there's no way I would have found this. But I knew what the Fibonacci sequence was. So 0 plus 1, and then once I found that, it was really simple. Nines were kind of difficult, and the 5 was kind of hard. But it's actually pretty cool. I'm not going into the 5s part. But I explained that in another video on how time works and our simple understanding of left OK symbol on your left hand and your right OK symbol on your right hand. And they actually, if you place them over your eyes and connect the middle fingers, that's the 5th dimension, and the other 4 fingers that are left, your 2 ring fingers and your 2 pinky fingers, are X, Y, Z, and time. That middle finger connection actually rolls back into your head and touches your pineal gland. So that's, and then we know you can do some research on DMT and the release of that in your sleep cycle, and then you get into collective consciousness and all this crazy stuff that it all just points to this, and then this points out to that. So it'll make sense, hopefully. Just if it doesn't make sense, just follow along, and then you can show people and kind of blow people's mind, because there's 3 different individuals in this process. There's ones that are going to immediately reject this and not understand it whatsoever. They're going to reject it and not understand it. And then you got the second crowd that doesn't understand it but understands that there's something here. Okay, and then you've got the third crowd that understands it, and it just clicks. Aha, this makes sense. I know I can keep moving forward and not have a problem. The entire process, though, before I get into all this, and I've been talking now for a few minutes, you have to keep calm and carry on. Don't change your normal cycle. The whole point of this is to start a change in behavior and ideologies. Okay, I'm not getting into the philosophical point, but basically this states, plain and simple, that the next generation is here and they're going to know how to use the collective consciousness. Now, what I mean by use the collective consciousness, I mean that the higher power is going to allow certain individuals to do crazy things that are meant for good. Plain and simple. If it's bad, it's not going to happen. It's just not built into the system. And you're probably, since it's all dealing with numbers, a lot of the religious people are going to say, well, then how do you know? You just know. Just make it through this entire video, and you can skip forward to the next image if you need to. And then the third image is kind of just, it's designed to explain how to navigate through the connective conscious and our understanding here of E equals mc squared. Okay, where did I get the diagrams and stuff will be discussed later, but basically I get these modes of information. Upload is what it feels like. I get so much information thrown into my head and I don't know where it's coming from. Literally, I'm not researching. Literally, it's all of a sudden something hits and boom, I gotta write it down. This has to be written down. I don't know why. I don't know where it comes from. I know that it's all in good, but during the process of transmitting or receiving, or however you want to think of it, intuition, during these moments where the information is coming, it's very stressful. Anyways, so back to this. 0 plus 1 equals 1. We did that. 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. The 9s are important. There's actually a movie called The 9s. It's actually really cool. It gives you it kind of opens up your thought process. Like, what if this was an actual video game or a level in life? And then the 5 is actually talking about the 5 senses that we currently have. And if you count the spaces to the left, there's 1, 2, 3. And if you do an OK symbol with your left hand, you can count 1, 2, 3 fingers standing up. And then you've got a circle there, which is pi. Or if you look at it straight on, you can see a B and then an E. So you can be a part of something, or you look at your right hand, or decide, or destiny, which is a DE, or actually a point, or a 0, 3. Now this is key, because on your left hand you have 3 point, and on your right hand you have 0, 3. All right, this is key right here, because that actually led me to this. I found the break in the code before I found this, but this just clicked. And I knew that this went right here because of multiple different things. I didn't put a lot of the information into here. I'm trying to keep it concise, but phi is the golden ratio. It actually starts in the very center and then rotates out, getting larger and larger. Mathematically, I forget the equation, but it's like A plus half of A equals B, or something like that. I don't know, but it's a mathematical symbol. You can look up phi. It's the golden ratio. It's 1.61803, but the actual intern part is 30, because you're mimicking this 30 on your left hand is what you're doing, because you're trying to be a part of something larger. So you've got 30, it's right over here, 3081910, which is literally in there with the Fibonacci sequence. You can't really deny that. It's there. Anyways, I carried out from that point the code, which this is the bottom parts. It's 3, 4, 9, 5, 3, 5, and I placed them in accordance with what I deemed the most appropriate. I found that these steps actually were all connected. I mean, all the way through. They literally are one step. The numbers can correlate. The 5 has options. This is actually, I believe, is just to a later step. It's something that we haven't figured out yet. Well, technically it's there, but it's not. We don't have enough information to describe why this is not part of the actual cipher. But we've got the 3 rows, and you can carry it all the way out. And this goes out to, and I'm missing 2 digits. This is an old one for some reason. But there's a 6 and there's a 9 there. And that's the 9 right here that's missing, which is right over here. Here it is. This 9 is the 42nd decimal place of pi. So people like have the ideology that 42 is the secret to life, and it is. It's right there. But if you carried out this code, you realize that the 1, there's no way for the 1 and 9 to connect. They're just on different levels. So the code is broken. So how do we fix the code? Well, we use what we know, the Fibonacci sequence. We've got the golden ratio, which is right there. So you've got the golden ratio, which is a 1 dropping down on a 0. So we place the 0, 1, 1, 2, 3 right there. And the reason why that is because this is actually the Fibonacci, the phi, the golden ratio symbol is supposed to be right there. And that represents 13. So 1, 3, 3 times 7 is 2, 1, and that fixes our broken code. So why is 13 and 21 key? Because 5 plus 8 is 13. 8 plus 13 is 21, and then that carries us back to the beginning of the code of 34, because 13 plus 21 is 34, and that brings us back to a fixed code, and that's that. It carries out to the 69 because 69 is yin yang, and we can go we can get all deep into philosophy and stuff like that, but it's not really, it's there, but it's not. Anyway, so the next step I did was there any key pieces of information, like alphanumeric? If I switched them out alphabetically, is there stuff there? This got a little confusing, but it actually blew my mind once I got it. But if we let 1, 1, which is actually AA, is equal signed, 8 is infinity, and IE is that is. You can look up on the dictionary, and that's what it is. IE says that is. That's what the understanding of IE is. So this actually reads out, if God be E equals MC squared, IE 8. Okay? That is infinite. Now, I found this, and then people are like, if this is there, there should be more, and there's more. And then the next thing is, since there's more, there should be in other numbers. Correct. So I knew that 19 was key, and technically, if you look at the Greek letters, tau is 19th letter in the alphabet. You know, I thought that was a crazy coincidence. I didn't realize it as much as what I did know. Anyways, carrying this ideology out to the next step, you're left with this 6. I mean, it all works out. I can get words out of it, but you're left with this 6, and it's an F. It's kind of a hanger point. And then the next decimal is a 3, so I knew that 6.3 is technically tau, because it's 6.28, I believe. I'm going to go to the next slide. So I explain this. If God be E11 MC squared, because it's MCC, that is, i.e., infinite 8. So we understand that. Then I did this. I just wrote all the letters out to the point of 69, because that's where it breaks in tau as well. That is like a key marker, and I don't understand any of this, first and foremost, but the numbers are all repeating. All right, so I carried 3.14, and then we've got that, which carries the first part up to I believe the G right there, and then this rest part is actually easy if you break it down. So after the G, you have this 9, and you carry it out to the 2, 6, which is 6. It's 2F right there. So if you carry that out, then you've got ID in there, BCCFF, and then I believe this H is in there as well. I need to redo that, but see. And then after that, you have IC, which is left over in the rest of it. But the rest of it says A squared plus B squared equals C squared, high God, and then a CI. I believe that's right. I just went over it this morning. I could be incorrect again, but I have an updated version, and I'm getting mixed up with my information. Anyways, and that takes care of all these. And if you look right here, it's an if. This F gave me an issue, and I told you that I connected it with tau, and tau should have information. Tau works a little different, but it's kind of crazy. So I plugged the hide if because the if statement was hidden in pi. So that is kind of crazy right there. Then you have high God, chi, and then the 22nd letter of the Greek alphabet, I believe, is this X marker, which is also associated with chi. And you can do some research on that. The M, which I didn't explain on the prior one, is actually right here. I explained it right here. Phi equals M because phi 7 is 13th, and the 13th letter of the alphabet is M. So I went ahead and explained it right here. Phi 7 equals 13M. So that's how we got the M up there. It's kind of random, but it fits precisely into there. Anyways, there's 13 decimal places. There's 16 characters. How did I get that? That number's wrong. That's got to be wrong. Oh, no. There's 13 decimals, but there's 1, 2, 3 additional points. So, because I didn't count the 3 because it's in front of the decimal. I didn't count the decimal, and I didn't count phi in there. So 13 decimals, 16 digits. 16 was key before, but it's not really anymore. It's the 6 that keeps popping up. Oh, 1.6. That's right. 1.8. Anyways, 19 decimal places. So remember on the prior one, the code broke at 19. So what I did is took tau, which is 6 point, and then I carried out 19 decimal places. And then I tried to find a pattern. You know, using the prior pattern before, that we can understand this. The next pattern can be a little more advanced. So basically what it worked out as is 6, 2, 8, so that formed the 3 patterns right there. And the pattern that was actually formed is math right down there. So I then carried the one-step carryover, 3, and that made sense. And then 1, which, just bear with me, we understand a little more evolution at this point. We understand some numeric numbers. There's the 1 right there. And then we go back to the 8. The 8 fell right next to the 8. And then the 5 popped up there because 5 plus 3 equals 8. And then we had the 3. Now this was a tricky one. I didn't realize this. I kind of skipped over that. I glossed over it, and then I came back to it because the pattern worked out without the 3. But technically it goes right there, which forms the 13 again, or the one strand, and there's 3 strands right there. And that's the DNA chromosome twist. Again, 7 plus 0 is 7. 7 minus 1 is 6, or 6 plus 1 is 7. 7 plus 1 is 8. It's there. It works. It's right there. So that takes care of all the way up to the 7th. That's actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So 12... I'm not going to go into that because I don't have any connections to that. But it's kind of... Never mind. I'm going to skip that. And then right after that, there's the alpha switch, which without the G, which was I was leaving off because it said hide if again. But this really wasn't hide if. It was more of a GIF, which was an image. And that's more of an advanced topic, such as E equals MC squared. A GIF is an image that you can save images as into that format, like JPEG and PNG. It's a different thing. but it could also be hide fig, and either way it forms this symbol right here, and we all know what that symbol means, and there's three of them. There's one to the left, one to the right, and one in the center. There's three different variations or three instituted ideas right there that stand next to each other and can stand by themselves. Okay? Anyways, the words they form is hide fig, which is 7 characters in 3 columns. If you look at Genesis 3:7, then the eyes of both of them were open, and they realized they were naked. So they sewed a fig leaves together and made coverings for themselves. Okay? So I'm just saying there's a larger picture here, and there's a literal sense to everything. And it is our duty to figure it out. That's what we're placed here for, and we have the opportunity to use this. Oh, I brushed over that. So when you... These are 2 different equations, but they're the same equation basically, but they have 2 different variables. Basically, I'm assuming, and this is my assumption, and we made an ass out of myself, is that this is supposed to represent this, because that's what we know. But this also represents this. Now, we have 2 different variables. We've got the AA, which I'm not going to describe that, and then we've got the FF, which is supposed to be future fear. I mean, this is the bad stuff that we always imagine. This is, we're afraid to die, you know, the end of the earth, whatever it is. I understand that. This actually was a PL before because it was past love, you know, but it didn't really fit in the correlation of this. So I put a Z here, which you've got the X, and then this actually forms a Y right here. And this is our ideology, or the B on the left hand, and this is the D on the right hand. And we have different options on how we want to formulate our conclusions. Right here, if you figure this out, this is actually a W right there. This is an H, and that's a Y, and it all sits on top of each other. And the ID, or our ego, is always asking why. We have to know why. But in the chi aspect of it, it doesn't matter, and that's why we've got an M, we've got an A, we've got 2 T's right there. And then if you flip it over, you got your E, and then you've got your R, which is fixed right in there. It depends on how you're looking at it. This could be the E, which goes like that, and then this is the R right there. It's all there, but this is the golden ratio. It actually, when you do patterns and you do one golden ratio, it reflects it. They've got an equal and opposite reaction, just like this, which is the 69, which ends the 2 ciphers, or codes, or whatever you want to call it. It's there. I did this one because this is the only one that does it like the 69, and some people don't have the imaging capabilities to flip it in their mind. And I'm not trying to bend people's perception. I'm just trying to connect people to what truly matters in the world, and that's you. It has nothing to do with what my ideas or beliefs are, or where things are going to go from this point. With that being said, I've got a long journey from this point forward. This is actually timeline. I'm jumping here. This is the beginning and the end. And we're always in the now sense right there. The now sense is the chi, the understanding, and we have a choice to navigate either through future fear or through a Zen state. It's pretty simple. I mean, they kind of correlate with each other. You have both options, and they're both there. So I'm not getting into how this actually works, but basically one can't control the other, and the other can't control the one. So it is and it's not. Or you can do it the other way. If the cup is half empty, this can control that, with agreeance that this can control that, if that makes sense. So if you don't believe this, fine. Then don't worry about this. Move on. But it's a give and take situation. You can't have one without the other. An easier way to think about this is like to get control, you have to give up all control. All control. Literally don't want anything, and then all of a sudden, all control is given to you. It's kind of crazy, and it's not. You can't just flip it on and flip it off. Well, you can, but you can't, because the more you force it, the more your genetic code tells you no. And it's an exercise of will, and it's back to this understanding of faith and exercising and just communication. It's communication between one and the other. So let's go ahead and move on. There's enough there. You can pause it. You can go through it. The easiest way I can explain it is to use graph paper, and then literally each box you put this. Now in this, the point is actually not significant. The point actually represents this point right here, which is hidden. But so technically that's a 0 on top of that as well, but that actually brings it to the point. So it kind of cancels out. This is kind of far reaching. The math's there. So that's why I put it in there, and that's the reason why the JPEG was hidden, or the GIF was hidden. And that led me to Fig, because I don't know whether it's this or this, but you got the left and to the right. I'll have to do some more research on that understanding. But the Bible in different text actually house connective information, which is kind of crazy. I have to look up the three. I don't have it off the top of the exact story, because I have a feeling that there's information that connects to this, and I don't want to get too far into it. So that's that. I have one more slide that actually shows how to navigate through this. I don't know the steps yet, but as I stated before, a lot of times I get images before I get the actual understanding. So I may never get this. This may be for someone else, and I think it's for someone else. It's not for me. Most of the stuff is not for me. It's just I'm the only person that's offering no control, and then they give me control over the information, if that makes sense. So, okay. This is Saturn's hexagonal North Pole. This is the moon. This is our understanding of Earth and how it works. You have your gravity in there, which is right there. You've got matter, and then you've got energy. I don't remember which color is which. I think the energy is the larger one. But the energy and the restrictive understanding of physics are actually right there. And they're all connected together. And this is a two-way street. It starts with the single individual. It's a two-way communication from one side to the other, okay, with this center point of now. Technically, and then this is turned sideways. I forget why it's turned sideways. It has to do with the Lime Castle and quadruple primes and 135 and something. Anyways, it's the first quadruple prime, and it's the angle that is important. But that's it. I'm sorry it took so long. Once again, I'll go back a slide. My name's Joshua Sisk, and this information is not mine. It's been dormant, and it's there. A lot of people don't know about the Bible code, but I'm not sure if it's there. There's a lot of information there, but people don't know how to handle it. They kind of freak out. But the one thing that most religions say is that there's a master plan. So if the master plan is actually to find out, what's the big deal? I mean, it's not like you are going to become any more powerful. You may be able to make some advanced decisions, in the stock market and stuff, but that's pretty much it. That's part of his master plan. You go back to that. Do you have options? Yeah, you always have options, but that's, I don't want to kill this, but that's an illusion. So we are all, and here's the deal. I'm going to explain this real quick. The option is very simple. You have a complete opposite. Now, this is kind of hard. Here's the opposite right here. You are one. This is many. Okay, this is how to think of it. I'm not saying the many are the God, but this is how it's distributed. If you decide not to do something, it gets distributed out to the masses. So it gets, parts of information are broken down. Basically, it's like a sentence. Let's take this first sentence up here, and it's broken down into 4 different categories. You got this, whatever it may be, symbols, numbers, letters, and quotations. It's just broken down into bizarre ways, and it gets distributed appropriately, and then gets put on the back burner. But if that person decides to actually do it, and it's got to be good. That's the hard part. Like I've received some bad signals, and I knew they were bad. Like one was to walk in front of traffic and show people my power, which I knew was wrong. So after my first step, and this is the hard way to do it, you got to keep calm throughout the entire process, and you can only take one step in advance. And if you know that one step is leading to a bad place, you've got to stop it and then redirect it to positive energies. Talk it out with people. Trying to get through the chaos is the hardest part. A lot of people that, and I go back to the 3 individuals, that reject the idea is not going to have a problem with this. That understand the idea, that know that there's something here but don't understand it, they're going to start having a little problem. They don't know what to do with it, but they know they need to keep this in their database. And then you have the people that are in the know. These people already know stuff is going down. They already understand that this is just another key piece of information. And if they truly believe it and accept it, then they start getting activated. And they start receiving information. So it's a real simple process, because that's part of their plan, if that makes sense. We can't force destiny. You can't force it. It's on your right hand. That's where you need to go. Always be right. Okay? If you always do the right thing, everything's okay, because everyone's doing their destiny, and that's the DE on your right hand. Okay? Destiny. It's very simple. But you have a choice in the matter. You can choose to turn that off, which is right here, which is part of the equation, right here, and then it gets distributed appropriately. That's the chaos in the system. It's real simple. It's real hard to figure it out mathematically, because everyone's got the option. I'm not going into that. Basically, B squared and C squared. I believe that's the matter and light, because we understand that, and that's in both equations. What's different is the individual, our future fear, or the mass fear, which is, or the mass pleasure, I guess you can say, as the gift that everyone can give. It's the blessing. It's the, I truly hope you do well. It's that wishing someone well is actually giving good energy out. So, and that comes back to the yin and yang, and I'm not saying that there's not bad things out there. I'm far from saying that, but I'm saying that by believing in the bad stuff, you are creating the bad stuff. So you have to learn to omit the bad stuff. Protect yourself, but don't go deep down that hole. Like, I know that this is going to be bad. It's that self-fulfilling prophecy is what this is stating. Don't go down that road, and it won't happen. It's and it's like, if you know that you have no control over this, then why are you even worrying about it? That's the thing. You're trying to take the power back to yourself. Plain and simple. Do not do that. You have no power in this situation. Don't think you do, because as soon as you do, a new piece of information is going to show up and say, you're wrong, and you're creating chaos in the system, so stop it. So, yeah, this says hide Fig, and then that actually says they hid themselves with Fig. So, and that's actually 3:7 of Genesis, which I'm going to go ahead. That's genetic code and ISIS, which I didn't look up ISIS, but and that's just another connection. And the problem is all this information has been peppered throughout history, and it's got subtle seeds of honesty. Okay, but we can literally reformat all our collective consciousness to place them in the proper order, so that way we can know and do it again, because it repeats itself, like the snake that eats its own tail. Um, and the way I look at it, and the people that are in the know, and I'm going off on a tangent, the people that are activated know that we've done this a million times. Okay? And we'll do it a million times more as long as we get our stuff right. And my steps are, plain and simple, to welcome the next generation of people that are in the know. Give them the needed tools to work, keep calm, and carry on, and be hidden in plain sight. So that way they don't attract unwanted attention and create fear in their system because they have more chi than other people. Okay, I know I'm throwing out a lot of different terms, but it kind of all folds onto each other, and then we get to repeat it. Yay! Now, there's different religions and stuff. I'm not getting into that. Most of them say that if you do what you're told, if you do as you're supposed to, not told as in from someone else's verbal mouth, but if you do as you're supposed to, as intuition says, as long as it doesn't do harm, things are good. The problem is what we're finding now is that things are literally hidden from plain sight. So what you're reading in the Bible is actually encoded messages, not for you. So don't take it literally. Yeah. Or take it literally. Whatever your belief is, choose to have that belief and fight for it to the bitter end. That's all I say. But do it with peace. Because we're never going to have complete peace, and we're never going to have complete chaos. There's always going to be the gray area, and that's just built into the system. I can't... If you think of this as birth right here, and you know nothing right there, and you're always asking yourself why, like a 2-year-old kid, and then you become the master, or you know what matters in life. So you're up here, and then you in the know. You understand. You're looking over the people that don't know, because they're using both eyes to actually see, while you taking a little rest. You're putting one eye behind your back, because you understand what is truly important, and that's why you have an eye here and an eye here. Because you're looking at each other dead on, but you don't even realize it. You know, it's just like ba-bam, ba-bam. The Zen part, or your energy, your intuition, is actually looking out for the matter part, or our human self, and whatever that may be, and we're just bouncing back and forth. So being able to navigate between the brain, literally living in the brain, and then the human matter is what the next stage of evolution is all about. And being able to be okay with things that we don't understand, and that it is what it is. That's what the ISIS is. It is what it is. You can't explain it. It is there. It is our job to keep figuring it out and keep moving forward. It is what it is. So don't look into it. Don't base a religion off of it. Don't do crazy stuff, because it will bite you in the ass. Just like the song Katy Perry's Dark Horse. Okay, I'm not saying that it's just saying you either say yes or no. There's no maybe at this point. Okay, you either say yes or no, and that's it. That's all you've got to do. You don't have to do anything else. You either accept it or deny it. So, but by playing maybe and bouncing back and forth is creating the chaos for the individuals that are actually doing what they're supposed to do. So we're at that point. So I appreciate that. Thank you for your time, and sorry for the hour-long video. 40-minute video. All right, talk to you later. Bye.